Coach Calloway, he goes super saiyan.
Everybody, it's Coach Calloway. Today is a message that you want to listen to. Life can be stressful, right? We can all relate to that. Just think about all the different areas that can generate stress in your life. It could be your business and job. It can be your personal life. Maybe relationships, your friends, your spouse, your kids. Maybe it's the bills and the money and the debt and the finances and that financial pressure that we have at times in our life. I want you to think about all these things that you're responsible for and get ready. I'm going to share with you today something very powerful. I'm going to teach you how to take the stress that we have in our life and transform it into success in your life. It's going to be a coach's corner that you don't want to miss. I mean, the sheer number of responsibilities and tasks that we all have on our shoulders can feel physically and mentally like it's crushing us at times. I am sure that many of you listening to this, or most of you, if not all of you, can relate. But if I told you we're going to transform that stress and all that mental anxiety that comes with it, the feeling of overwhelm and failure that we all feel in life at times, we're going to learn how to transform it into clarity, confidence, and again, ultimately into success. So stay with me throughout this Coach's Corner. It is going to be powerful strategies that you need to transform stress into success. I am excited to bring it to you. We're going to remove the stress in your life today and allow you to take back control and succeed and thrive in every area of your life. So welcome to Coach's Corner. I am Coach Calloway, and this is our Elite Performance Podcast. We're always focused, laser focused, on making a positive impact and enhancing your life. And we are driven by your success and elite performance in every area of your life, professionally, personally, financially, and spiritually. So we're going to share these 5 powerful strategies with you today. Before we dive in, please do me a favor. Hit subscribe to this YouTube channel right now. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or the audio podcast platform like Apple or Spotify if you're listening to us on those platforms as well. Hit subscribe, and of course it's free. It helps us bring you this beneficial and life-empowering, enhancing content to you on a weekly basis. And it helps us expand our program if you'll share the channel with others. So do that if you get a chance. And remember, it's brought to you by CoachCalloway.com, our website, and our elite club out at the website. I want you to go check that out when you get a chance. All right, let's dive into today's Coach's Corner. There has been many times in my life when I felt that I had screwed things up, when the weight of my circumstances was, really felt like it was just too much on me. I felt like I was being crushed by the stress and the anxiety and the overwhelm of circumstances in my life. I felt like a failure at times, felt like a failure professionally, maybe as a friend or a husband. I was just trying to keep it all together at stages in my life. And every morning, I would wake up with a jolt of anxiety. My brain would instantly just start scanning the hundreds of things it felt like that I was dealing with and the pressure of all of that. And then every night I'd fall asleep exhausted, replaying all of the difficult circumstances and challenges and shortcomings in my life that were creating the stress that I was feeling. It was a cycle of constant overwhelm and stress just running through my mind over and over and over. And I felt like I was just stuck in this messy place between ambition, wanting to succeed, and the anxiety of the stress because of the circumstances maybe that I was dealing with at that stage of life. And it's hard. It's hard to see a way out at times, but there is absolutely a way out. There's always a way out. So no matter what you're dealing with, know that today that there is a way out. And we're going to give you these 5 powerful strategies. And these aren't just fluff, feel-good platitudes that I'm going to share with you. They're real strategies to get to the root of overwhelm. And it starts with this. The number 1 strategy that I'm going to share with you, so fundamentally important, and it is the foundation of everything I'm going to share with you today, and it's your mindset and reframing. So again, strategy number 1, your mindset and reframing. That is the foundation to all success. The stress that comes with, life circumstances and how we perceive those circumstances and those challenges is the key. And the good news is you can rewire your mindset, and we can all learn to embrace the power of reframing the pressure that we feel and reframe the stress and the circumstances. It's the single biggest thing that changed life for me. It wasn't some new, fancy planner or getting more organized or some fancy app. It was really a massive mental shift in my life that I had to stop seeing stress as a negative and start seeing it as something that can fuel me towards success. Stop seeing, stress as worry, fear, anxiety, and failure. And I needed to start seeing it for what it truly is, a psychological response. So I want you to hear what I'm just telling you. Stress and anxiety and overwhelm is a psychological response. That's all stress is. The problem isn't the stress itself, it's the story that we're telling ourselves about it. It's how we perceive and process our circumstances internally and in our thoughts that are creating the overwhelm, the feelings of anxiety and failure and shortcomings in our life. So let me give you a few simple examples. So as a public speaker, as an example, when my heart would start racing before a big presentation or speech, my inner monologue to myself was, man, I'm so nervous. I'm going to look bad. I'm going to fail. I had the physical signs of nervousness. My heart was racing. My hands were shaking. My voice was cracking. This was proof to me of my impending doom. These are my thoughts. It was right before I went out on stage. If I had all of these physical signs, it made me think, oh my gosh, this is going to be a horrible presentation or a horrible speech because I was so nervous and all of those things were happening. That's a threat response, right? But what if I reframe that in my racing heart and all of those physical, anxiety signs, they weren't a sign of fear, but they were a sign that I was actually ready and prepared. What if your body, handing you these things, you can convert it into positive energy instead of a negative worry or fear? I wanted to convert all of these physical things that I was feeling to a positive, energy force for me so that I could perform at my absolute peak and get that nervousness that was pushing me, towards feeling worry and fear and use it to push me towards elite performance. This is what psychologists call cognitive reframing, and it is a simple act of consciously changing your perspective about your circumstance and what you're feeling. Studies prove this. They have found that when people are in stressful situations, if they'll reframe their anxiety as excitement, they actually perform better. We can prove this through studies. Take that nervousness and feed it into a positive mindset that brings excitement and a positive energy, not fear, stress, and worry of not doing well. Trying to calm down in those situations can often backfire. Instead of telling yourself, I'm worried and stressed and I'm going to fail, tell yourself I'm excited and I'm going to use that to fuel my excitement and not fuel my fear. That's how you can do this. Though, how can you do it though? How can you reprogram and reframe your mindset into a positive place instead of a worry or negative place? And it just starts with awareness. The next time you feel that knot in your stomach, just take a pause for a minute. Don't immediately label it as bad or negative. It's a signal that can actually project a positive, exciting place for you. It's your body giving you a signal that, man, you're locked in and you're focused on what you need to succeed. Remember, the stress isn't the issue. It's the narrative that you built around it that creates the issue. If you can reframe it, like if you have a tight deadline on a work project or something, and you know that, man, that is a tight deadline and you feel it's going to be tough to meet that deadline, don't allow it to be a threat. Instead, turn it into an opportunity that's going to allow you to show off your skills and your capabilities. It's all the way you perceive and internally process whatever circumstance that you're dealing with. It's a simple shift in a thought and mindset that can lower your anxiety and create a more positive outlook for you. It's a huge part of being able to do this and being able to learn to shut down any negative inner voice that you're telling yourself and turn those negative thoughts into something positive. Remember, most of our negative thoughts are just that. They're just thoughts. They're not facts. When you feel like you're going to fail or come up short, those are thoughts. They're not facts. Don't turn them into facts. You turn them into fuel that's going to propel you to excel and to succeed. So when that inner voice starts whispering that you're not good enough, that you're going to mess up, you have to mentally stop that right now. Stop it cold in its tracks. The one powerful trick is to literally sometimes maybe just write down the negative thought. Just write it down on a piece of paper, because when you see it on a piece of paper outside of your head and then you look at it in a rational sense, you'll realize that that's not true, that's not a fact, and I don't need to be worried, stressed, and have all this anxiety about that. That thought, get it out of your head, get it down on a piece of paper and just look at it. Is there any real evidence that those things that you're worrying about are going to come true in your life, and the odds are probably not. There is no evidence that those are going to come true. You know, it's just an old tired story that you're telling yourself over and over again. And you can actively replace it. Instead of, you know, I can't handle this, turn it into something that I am capable of handling and overcoming these challenges in my life. This isn't about lying to yourself. It's about choosing a more empowering and realistic story. Those negative thoughts that we have and those internal dialogues that we have with ourselves that creates the anxiety and the worry and the stress, they're not true. They're not facts. Tell yourself that, reframe that thought, and get yourself in a better mental place. It's about building a deep-seated trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. This is reframing. This is the reframing process, and it's a skill, and it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, just like working out, right? So use this skill and reframe those negative worry and stressful thoughts into something positive and use it as fuel. And over time, your default response will, change. It will stop being stress, and it will stop triggering panic and worry and become a cue for you to lock in, focus, and execute and be an elite performer and an overcomer. Challenges start to look like opportunities to you when you get in that place, and your mind now is triggering a different reaction to a negative or challenging circumstance in your life. And then reframing that mindset is really the foundation to everything. If you believe stress will break you, it will. And the same is true. If you believe it can fuel you to success, it will. Research backs this up. Research from Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck shows that a growth mindset, believing you can improve through effort, reduces stress and boosts performance. It's a proven psychological study over time that shows us these things. And when you face a tough circumstance, just ask yourself, what can I learn from this? This negative circumstance offers me a learning and growth opportunity that ultimately will lead me to success in my life. So do that. And then next, this is an important step of learning how to reframe as well. Practice gratitude daily. Gratitude is such a powerful thing. If you stay in a mental place of gratitude, it's going to help you succeed in the long run. It sounds simple, but studies, again, prove this. I want to share a study from UC Berkeley found that writing down 3 things that you're grateful for every day lowers the cortisol levels in our body by 23%. And cortisol is what gives you those feelings of anxiety, overwhelm, and stress. You can reduce that hormone in your body by 23% by just simply writing down 3 things daily that you're grateful for and focusing and just being grateful for those things. And sometimes they're small things. It can be, I had a good cup of coffee this morning. I was really grateful for that. But write down those 3 things that you're grateful for every day. Try it. Try it today. Try it tonight. Jot down 3 wins, big or small. And over time, this is going to shift your focus from stress into possibilities. And then finally, another way that you can reframe your mental mindset is you can visualize success. This is like any great athlete, right? They use visualization to perform under pressure. So take 2 minutes, just a couple minutes each morning as you start your day and picture yourself achieving your goals and feel the confidence and see a positive outcome in your mind first. And then allow you to then execute and have the actions and behaviors and habits that's going to lead you to seeing that outcome become a reality in your life. It primes your brain for positive outcomes, and it primes your brain for action that will lead you to setting the right standards in your life that leads to success. Your mindset is your superpower. Reframe your challenges, practice gratitude and visualization, and I'm telling you, you will begin to be in a better place. You'll be reducing stress and ushering in more success. All right, strategy number 2. You have to fuel your body and boost your energy. If you don't fuel your body and boost your energy, you're going to find yourself in a stressful, more overwhelmed, anxious place. You wouldn't expect a race car, right, to win a race or win a championship if it was running on bad fuel, right? You're never going to get a car to perform if you got bad fuel. You never tune it up and do the things that keep the engine humming at peak performance. That's exactly how we treat our bodies sometimes. We think that if we don't fuel ourselves with the right fuel and the right energy, that we're still going to be able to perform at our best, and it's just not true. But we need to make sure that we don't do things that's going to reduce our energy. Here are the few things that I think are obvious, but I think worth pointing out to you today. Number one is sleep. We skimp on sleep all the time. We grab, whatever few hours of sleep we can get, and then we don't eat right. We grab whatever food is quick and we treat it, like if we don't get enough sleep, we don't fuel ourselves with a good diet, how are we gonna be in the right place to have the energy we need to perform at our best? We have to treat ourselves like a, race-winning performance high-end race car. We have to do that. And if you don't do that, it's a one-way ticket to burnout and not success. It is so important. If not only the right mindset is the foundation, but you must be physically strong as well. So your physical, strength leads to a strong place mentally. Your ability to handle stress is going to be directly tied to your physical health. And it starts with this absolute non-negotiable of sleep. So I want you to think about that. For years, I can tell you, for me personally, I wore the lack of sleep like a badge of honor. I thought it proved how hard I was working and grinding. In reality, I was just sabotaging myself. Sleep isn't just downtime. It's an active period where your brain and body restore and repair themselves. When you don't get enough sleep, you are negatively impacting your cognitive function and your emotional state and your ability to manage stress in your life. So make sure that you're getting a good amount of sleep. Like for me, I need about 6.5 to 7.5 hours of sleep. That's my sweet spot. And when I get 7 hours of sleep consistently every night, man, I am in a much better cognitive state, mental state, because my physical body is rested. The next part that's so important about making sure that your body is tuned up to reduce stress and to perform is movement and exercise. You don't have to become a world-class athlete. That's not what I'm talking about, but you have got to get your body moving on a regular basis. One of the best stress busters out there is exercise. And when you feel that flood of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline showing up, and that worry and stress and anxiety showing up, exercise gives you a place that you can take that energy and give it a productive exit. It clears your head and releases the endorphins in your body, and it changes your natural mood when you're exercising on a regular basis. And a recent study proved that 30 minutes of moderate exercise 5 days a week reduces anxiety and stress by 20%. Think about that. You can reduce the stress in your life by over 20% if you'll just do some moderate exercise for about 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. A brisk walk, go out for a walk. Maybe you can go get involved in a gym, do a gym session. Or maybe if you're at home and you just, can spend some time doing a few jumping jacks or push-ups or sit-ups. I don't know, get moving. Get you a little stationary bike set up somewhere in the house. Just get your body moving. Go outside for a walk. Just get 30 minutes of moderate exercise. Again, you don't have to be a world-class athlete here, but when you do that, you are going to reset your mental state, not just your physical state, and it's going to remove stress in your life. So think about exercise as it hits the reset button on your nervous system. Physical exercise is so important to your overall mental health. And I'm telling you, I understand this. I'm in a much stronger place mentally when I am physically active and I'm working out. So be smart then also with what you fuel and feed your body. You've got to fuel your body with the good stuff. And that is, your diet. Get rid of processed foods and sugars, because these things will send your energy on a roller coaster ride. When you eating a bunch of junk and a bunch of sugar and a bunch of soft drinks and stuff, when you're feeding yourself with a bad diet, it will make stress feel even worse because of the hormone roller coaster you're setting yourself up with a bad diet. Where a good diet or a balanced diet, on the other hand, gives your brain the stable fuel and your body the fuel it needs to stay focused and resilient, and it gets rid of stress. So make a conscious effort, man, to cut back on or get rid of all these sugary snacks and change it out for good protein-rich options. Get rid of these soft drinks and make sure that you're drinking more water. Stay properly hydrated and get off all that sugar. It's really important. This isn't about perfection on any of these things. It's not about being perfect. It's about being mindful and giving yourself the good stuff most of the time. And energy then becomes your fuel, and it's sleep well, move and eat smart. Do those things, sleep, exercise, and eat better. If you'll just do that most of the time, I'm telling you, stress is going to be reduced and success is going to increase. All right, strategy number 3. This one, again, is very important. Each one of these strategies really should be number one because they're all three so important. But strategy number three is taming the overwhelm of time. You've got to manage your time better. It reduces stress and increases success if you'll do this. And we have now talked about reframing our mindset and fueling our bodies with better stuff. And now it's really about getting our time management dialed in. And stress often makes us feel like we don't have enough time, right? And when we feel our time is controlling us instead of us controlling our time, it can create major stress and overwhelm and anxiety. And it causes what I call decision paralysis. When you're not managing your time right and that stress level and overwhelm is increasing, we start making bad or non-decisions, and that is not proper execution that's going to lead to success. You need better time management in your life, and you need a better time management system. The first rule of this time management system is we need to destroy this myth right here of multitasking. I used to think that juggling 5 things at once made me a productive wizard, that multitasking was one of my strengths. And research is crystal clear. That does not happen. Matter of fact, when you're multitasking in 4 or 5 different things at once, the exact opposite is happening. It's slashing your productivity by up to 40%. Studies have proven this. And seriously, it spikes stress in your life when you're multitasking and juggling too many things at once. So we've got to get rid of that. We've got to get rid of multitasking and manage and schedule our time in a more productive and efficient way. Your brain can't actually multitask. I want to tell you that again. Your brain is never actually doing multiple things at once. It's not possible. You can't do multiple things at once. Your brain is just switching between things really, really fast when you're juggling a bunch of activities at one time. And that drains your mental battery down to 0. The antidote to that is making sure that you have a proper time management system and single task instead of multitask. I'll say that again, single task instead of multitask. Focus on one thing and one thing only and be effective and efficient and be locked in on that thing and do your best work when you're dealing with that particular thing in your schedule. That is what's going to effectively keep you as an elite performer. This is where elite performers are excelling. They manage their time more efficiently and more effectively because they single task and get the priority things done. And by the way, we have an elite performance playbook out at the website, coachcalloway.com, on this, on successful time management. And you need to go out there and get a copy of it if you get a chance. Again, you can find it at coachcalloway.com. It's brilliant in setting up a detailed playbook and course for you to know how to properly manage your time. This is where success is born. I'm going to give you a little bit of it right here today. Number one thing that you need to do is you need to use kind of the matrix of putting your day into 4 blocks. I say block 1 is the priority block. This is the things that you put in the priority block are urgent, top priority things for the day. The second block is what I call the success block. It's where you schedule your important, not your top priority or your most urgent thing, but the important things. Think strategic planning here, learning and relationship building, and schedule out things in the success block. And then block 3, you put things you're going to delegate. These are things that need to get done, but they are going to get done by delegating them. You know, these are smaller, maybe more minor issues that you feel need to happen, but you can shift them over and hand them off to somebody else to accomplish those goals. And then that 4th block is where you put things that just need to be deleted, things that you probably are doing on a daily basis that you need to stop. It's the mindless scrolling time, you know, on social media, looking at your phone too much, whatever's wasting your time. This, I call them success killers. It's the stuff you need to just stop doing. And you know what they are. Put those down, write them down. And so you got 4 quadrants. You got your priority block, you got your success block, you got your delegation block, and you got your delete box. And you're going to write things down for your day in one of those 4 boxes. I'm telling you, this is a game changer. And then learn how to proper plan and script out every minute. You've got to do that. Have a time schedule list, and every minute you've got something scheduled in there before the day starts. Schedule your day, plan your day, script your day. Sell it right now that your time is the most valuable asset that you have. By far, it's the most valuable thing that you own. You own your time. You have full control over it unless you choose to give it away. Your time must be protected. Don't allow people or distractions steal your most valuable asset. You would not allow people to come in and steal your money, would you? Of course not, but we allow people to come in and steal our time constantly, and your time is actually more valuable than your money, far more valuable than your money. Money is something that you can replace if you waste it. You can't ever replace your time when you waste your time. You have got to protect your time like nothing else. Protect it more than you protect your money. You protect your money by putting it in a secure place. You need to learn to protect your time, which is more valuable, by proper planning and scripting out your day so that you're not wasting it and letting other circumstances and people steal it from you. Again, don't just make a simple general to-do list. That doesn't work. Give every task a specific time slot on your calendar. Have blocks of time, like I call them periods. I call these blocks of times periods. These blocks or periods have a very specific set of tasks that will be worked on, and I will not allow any distraction to interrupt or steal that time away from me. These are the things I'm going to do at these specific times of the day. Script them out every day, and when you do that, it allows you to be realistic, by the way, with what you can actually accomplish in a day, because when you just have a general to-do list, you don't even know if you can get to it all. You all know that you've had a general to-do list and you don't get to it all, and you carry it over to the next day and carry it over again, and you just keep pushing that thing you didn't get to on that to-do list down, down, and down, and you don't even get to it the day you said you would. It might be a week or two later before you actually get to it. But when you script it out and you put it in a time block and a period of time, it will tell you if you're realistic, if you can get to it or not. So when something is on your calendar, you treat it like it's a real appointment, even if it's just a phone call or an email that you're going to write. When it's scripted and put down, at 2 o'clock I'm doing this, and at 2 o'clock you're doing that, and don't allow anything to change it. These blocks of times, or these periods, allow you to stay in a focused state. I like to do them in about 25-minute blocks, because I can do 25 minutes of focused work, undistracted work, and then maybe I can take a 3 to 5 minute break, that's where I get up and I get moving around, I get my blood flowing a little bit. Maybe I go to the restroom, I grab a glass of water, have a 5-minute break. You can schedule that in. 25 minutes of work, 5-minute break. 25 minutes of work, 5-minute break. This approach is good because it breaks things into manageable bites and prevents you from burnout by focusing on the things that are important to you. So, be willing to say no more often is the key here. Protect your time like it's gold. It is the most valuable thing you got. If a request does not align with your goals, then politely decline. You can't say yes to everything. Learn to say no. Time is your currency. How you spend it will lead to success if you spend it right. So prioritize, time block, and say no are the keys to the system. And I promise you, if you do that, you will be amazed at how much stress fades away and how much success is ushered into your life. So when you own your schedule instead of it owning you, I'm telling you, stress comes down, success goes up. All right, number 4. The fourth strategy I'm going to share with you just ties into all of that, and it's set boundaries and remove distractions. You've got to do it. You've got to set boundaries and you've got to remove distractions. This is so important, yet it's really maybe the hardest thing to do. You must be able to do it though, because if you set boundaries around your time and around your life, this means you have to remove distractions. And again, learn to say no. If you do this, you will become successful. If you don't do this, you will become exhausted and resentful at the end of the time or end of the day. Stress is often what happens when the demands placed on you exceed your capacity. Boundaries are how you manage that. That's how you manage that equation. Again, saying no is one of the most powerful things you can do for productivity. It's not selfish, it's strategic. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to something that does align with your goals. This applies to every aspect of your life, especially your digital life. And yes, we all have a digital life. We live in a digital world. We live in a world of constant pings and notifications and social media and scrolling. We get addicted to these things. We get addicted to our digital devices, and you've got to learn to manage that. And you've got to learn to consciously unplug from that and not allow it to be a distraction and to interrupt you. Set clear work hours, scripting your day, and you can plug in there a 5-minute block to jump on social media, but then hold yourself accountable to that this is the 5 minutes or the 10 minutes I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to do it before then. I'm not going to do it after then. I'm going to hold myself accountable to these things. And then turn off notifications. One of the most important things I ever did was I set my phone that I turned off all notifications. Those little banners that pop up with, sports alerts or news alerts or whatever mess that is popping up on my phone, I shut it all off. Had to get rid of that. You can't become addicted to those things that's going to distract you away from your goals. Look, if you're worried about missing something, maybe you start small because you are addicted to it. Just disconnect for one day. And if you have to, maybe just disconnect for 1 hour. But I promise you, the world's not going to fall apart if you'll disconnect from that device. Not seeing a social media post is not going to be a big deal because it's not leading you to success anyway. It's not leading you to success that you're capable of achieving, that's for sure. In actuality, it's probably stopping you from achieving the success that you're capable of. So do this. And when you do it, when you shut these distractions off, the mental recharge in your life is going to be incredible. Stress is going to come down. Efficiency and success is going to increase. But these are boundaries you have to set. And it applies to the people in your life as well, not just your device. While a support system is vital and having people around you that support you is important, it's also just as important to make sure that you protect yourself from negativity and people that are pulling you away from your goals and don't believe in your goals and are always negative in your life and feeding you negativity. Get away from those people. Spend time with people that are lifting you up, not constantly complaining or draining your energy. If you allow people to drain your energy through negative complaints and all that mess, it will drag you down with them. So make a conscious choice here to invest your social time with positive, encouraging people who lift you up and encourage you. Delegation is important as well. Make sure that you are delegating things by setting these boundaries and that you have control over what you allow into your mind and into your thoughts. So again, ultimately setting boundaries is about taking ownership of your thoughts and your time and your life. It's recognizing that the time and the energy are the most precious resources you have and that it's so important to protect them all. And when you do this, when you set healthy boundaries, you aren't pushing people away or being mean. You are positioning yourself to be a blessing in more people's lives through your success that you're going to acquire. So you're creating space that you need to show up to be the best version of yourself, being focused and energized and ready to succeed at elite levels when you do these things. So we've covered a lot so far. Number 1 strategy, your mindset and reframing. Number 2, fuel your body and boost your energy. Number 3, taming the overwhelm of time. And number 4, we just talked about setting boundaries and removing distractions. And then here's the final thing I'm going to share with you today. It's strategy number 5, always be investing in yourself. So important. The number 1 investment anyone can make is in themselves. Be willing to always seek self-improvement and development. Get around successful people, around people who have achieved the success that you want to achieve. Get around those people. When you make self-investment a priority in your life, you are building confidence, you're building skills, you're gaining knowledge that will position you for greater levels of success. And this all will start to diminish and remove stress. You're turning stress into success when you do these things. I call it the key to success, and key being K.I.E. K standing for always seek knowledge. Knowledge acquisition is so important. I stands for invest in your self-improvement, and E stands for execute at the highest levels. This isn't a quick fix. It's a lifestyle change that you've got to be committed to. A mental and physical change that will turn stress into success in your life. Now, I want to encourage you. One thing you can do to invest in yourself is get hooked up with us here at CoachCalloway.com. Become a member of our elite club. And if at least subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is what I asked you at the beginning. That's free. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel or the podcast platform that you're listening to. That, of course, is free. It's a great life-enhancing investment you can make in yourself. Now it's time to go execute. Don't just listen to the Coach's Corner, but take action on all 5 of these strategies. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button and share this Coach's Corner, this podcast with someone, and share our YouTube channel with someone today. We would much appreciate it. All right, it's time to go execute. Make plays, not excuses, and go be elite. Until next time, God bless.
COACH, Coach Calloway. He goes Super Saiyan when he hit the stage. Never make excuses, all we make is plays. We just make these plays. Talking